stick with just the facts today on Fortitude Through Stoicism, and this is my 365-day journey of implementing the ancient philosophy of Stoicism into the life of this modern masculine man. I love this one. I'm going to tell a story about one of my mentors who used to use this, and it was amazing. But first, the quote from Marcus Aurelius, remember, Roman emperor. Don't tell yourself anything more than what the initial impressions report. It's been reported to you that someone is speaking badly about you. This is the report. The report wasn't that you've been harmed. I see that my son is sick, but not that his life is at risk. So always stay within your first impressions and don't add to them in your head. This way, nothing can happen to you. Now, again, we know that what we create in our head is often worse than what's in reality, right? So what does all this mean, right? I'm going to continue with Ryan Holiday's little input here from the Daily Stoic. He says, at first, this can seem like the opposite of everything you've been taught. Don't we cultivate our minds and critical thinking skills precisely so we don't simply act on face value? Yet most of the time, but sometimes this approach can be counterproductive. Philosopher also has the ability, as Nietzsche said, to put it, to stop courageously at the surface and see things in plain objective form. Okay, so let's transform, right? So where does the rubber meet the road? What does this look like in practical application? One of my former mentors, John S. Parker, when I was at JSP Home Services, we took that company from $4 million to $12 million in a year. John was incredible because he was always getting coached. He always had mentors. And one of the things he used to say, and I love this, is, people come into the manager meeting and they just start telling this story. And he would look at him and go, okay, that's the story. Now, what are the facts? And it would almost stop the person in their tracks. And he'd be like, well, so-and-so said, no. What's the facts? That's hearsay. What are the facts? And when you boil it down, there was like one or two things, like so-and-so missed this appointment, or something simple. But what we do in our imaginations, we create this monster of a thing when really it's not. People's perceptions and emotions, right? They're going to pile on, make it so much worse than it seems, right? Like if you hear people talking about travel, oh my God, the plane is this, all this other stuff. And when you really boil it down to, we were delayed 23 minutes. Like, that's it. But people add to all this chaos and shit. But when you really boil it down, what are the facts? Because the rest is a story you're telling yourself. You're emotionally captivated in your own story. I fucking hear it all the time, especially with business owners. They start telling all these stories. Okay, great. What's real? What are the facts? What's true? And so I again, I love this one because I've seen this in actual practical application. This is a kind of straightforward pragmatism, seeing things as they are, or as we initially see them, right? And the thing that Ryan is saying here is, well, doesn't critical thinking, don't we dig deeper, right? But that's when we're looking at logic and facts. Most people, when they're looking at a scenario, they're captivated by the emotions, so they're telling this narrative to this whole thing that isn't necessarily true at all. So again, here's a practice that I do with myself. And I'm getting all wound up and I feel like things are spinning. I'm like, wait a minute. What's real? What do I need to do? What's in my head on this, right? I ask myself this because truthfully, when you boil it down, sometimes we feel overwhelmed. I know this happens to everyone because it happens to me. We feel overwhelmed by a bunch of things. And so sometimes I'll stop and say, okay, write down, just right now, what are the top 3 things that I need to do, right? I call my top 3, my executive top 3. What are my executive top 3 that I need to do right now that's going to move the needle in my life, right? And what that does is it gives me clarity. I can block out all the noise. I can get away with all the stories. This is real. This is what I need to focus on. And again, this is a technique that has worked really well for me. But I got to give credit to this one, John S. Parker, JSP Home Services, because let me tell you, the first time I heard that, it caught me in my tracks too. I said, wait, what? Wait, that is what happened. He goes, no, that's the story. But what's the facts? And so what I'm going to encourage you all to do is two things. When you find yourself in a situation where you're telling this elaborate story, just pause, right? This is a police report. What are the facts, right? This happened. Because the rest of it is just noise. The rest of it is just emotions. So this is an interesting one. And I'm going to keep it short today because I'm way behind. I'm in Deptford, New Jersey, outside of Philadelphia. I flew in yesterday. I don't even know. I'm confused. I don't even know what day it is. But I know I got one more day here, I think. I should be out of here today. But yeah. So the facts are that I have to be at my project in less than 2 hours. And the facts are that I have not finished my VEP, which is my proposal. So the facts are I better get my ass moving or else I'm going to miss my time window. So on that, I'm getting in the shower.